Peace and blessings, family. Peace and blessings. This is your brother, Sean Ali, here, Supreme Health and Wellness by Sean Ali. And as always, family, I thank each and every one of you who tunes in, shares some of your very valuable time and energy. And as always, I pray that these brief words are received in the spirit that I am striving to deliver them in, which is the spirit of your brother, the spirit of love, and of course, and always in the spirit and in the name of God. Family, I pray that these brief words find you and your loved ones, your family, in the best of your wellness, the best of your health, the best of your life. And I pray that it is on purpose, because life is on purpose. And when we are leading a purposeful life, we are truly leading a blessed life. And I just wanted to come and talk about blood pressure control. Blood pressure control. In the midst of everything that's going on with, the current pandemic and all of the other health crises, hypertension or high blood pressure can get lost in that mix of what's important and what we need to pay attention to, right? And they call hypertension is called the silent killer. So what this means from a medical and scientific perspective is that you won't know that you have or are suffering from high blood pressure or hypertension until it hits you. The silent killer. See, this is that part that we, like I said, in the midst of everything that's going on, this silent killer can be lost in the mix. But this is an integral part to health and wellness. See, we have, when we're looking at our blood pressure, right, we monitor it with the numbers. So we have the different monitoring systems where we have the regular sleeve, and they have the wrist, right? The wrist monitor. When we're looking at these numbers will give us the numbers. The numbers equal life. Those numbers that you get will tell you the condition of your life. The higher the number, the less likelihood of life you have. The lower the number, the less or the more likelihood that you will have abundant life, right? So these numbers are the numbers of life, the numbers of your life. So we have two. You have your systolic and your diastolic, right? The systolic measures the amount of force and pressure that's in the arteries, right? So that's when the blood, nutrients, oxygen is being dispersed through our body, it flows through our arteries, right? So the systolic is dealing with our arteries. This is how nutrients is dispersed throughout our body. This is how life is dispersed throughout our body. The diastolic, that measures the amount of force when the heart contracts and it releases to fill back up. That's what the diastolic measures. So the diastolic is measuring the force in the heart. We need these two numbers to be as low as possible, right? So when we are looking, the average blood pressure is 120/80. We don't want that. That will not get you past 75 or 80. The average lifespan is 75 to 80 years. So whenever we see these average numbers, right? The average weight, the average heart rate, the average blood pressure, right? These are dealing with this average lifespan of 75 to 80 years. We want to get past that threshold. We want to extend our lives beyond this average short, very, very short average lifespan. And one of the main ways we can do this is by regulating and controlling and managing the systems that keep us alive. When we are dealing with our blood pressure, right? This is dealing with our vitals, right? Vital means absolutely necessary. Listen, vital means absolutely necessary. When you go to your doctor, they triage you. They check your vitals because despite what you may say is wrong with you, they are going to treat you according to your vitals. These are absolutely necessary. Necessary to what? To life. This is the numbers of your life. You control that with your lifestyle, right? Because the vitals, they are measuring the effect of your thoughts, your deeds, and your actions upon your body, right? So what we are looking at with the vitals, we want to get the resting, and this is important. We want to get the resting blood pressure. So we want to remember what these two forces do, or these two categories do. The systolic, your arteries, the amount of force; the diastolic, the amount of force in your heart between the beats. They are the numbers of your life. So we are checking the resting, and this is important. We want to check the resting blood pressure. Why? Because when you get up and move, when you blink your eyes, right? Any type of action, it requires energy, oxygen, nutrients to support that action. So when we move, the blood pressure goes up to support our movement. The longer we are in motion, the elevated our blood pressure is to support that motion. So now when we rest, when you sit still and you are doing nothing, it should take minimal pressure, minimal force to keep you alive because you aren't moving. So when you have an elevated high resting blood pressure, that's when hypertension, high blood pressure is dangerous, because when you and I are sitting still, it should not require a lot of force and power and energy to keep us alive. When it does, this means that we can't have a long life ahead of us. The numbers won't support life. So we look, how do you control this? Remember the two numbers, right? Your heart and your arteries. So the systolic, that higher number, is measuring the force and power in your arteries, pushing the nutrients, oxygen, and blood throughout your body. The diastolic is when that heart contracts and release. It's measuring the amount of force to fill the heart back up. Okay, now let's do a physiological test right now, right? The heartbeat, the blood pressure are coordinated. They go hand in hand, okay? When you have a high, fast, erratic, non-rhythmic heartbeat, it's sending your blood pressure up. We have chemoreceptors throughout our bodies, right? One of the main ones we have is the carotid body. The carotid artery, this is the carotid artery, right? It goes to the internal, external. So the carotid artery, when it hits here, it splits internal, external. Right here, we have something called the carotid body. It measures the O2 and the CO2 in our blood. So when we aren't breathing properly, it throws off a mixture of the CO2 and the O2 in our body. When this carotid body senses that, it has chemoreceptors in there, and it senses that imbalance, it will automatically trigger elevated blood pressure and the rest of the stress responses to compensate for this, what it thinks is an emergency. So when we aren't breathing properly, fast, mouth breathing, shallow breathing, non-rhythmic breathing, it triggers and has a cascading effect, including elevating the blood pressure, right? So if you monitor, we have arteries throughout our bodies. You have an artery right here on your wrist that you can measure and feel your heartbeat, right? So as you are feeling it, and if you take a test and you breathe fast, mouth, shallow breathing, right? Or you can even do it with your nose. But if you do that fast, shallow chest, non-rhythmic breathing, holding your breath, you can feel your heartbeat correspond because it corresponds to your breathing. That's how you set your pulse. Your pulse will in turn set your blood pressure. So if you monitor your breathing erratic, and all of the other unnatural ways that we can breathe, you will feel and measure your heartbeat respond. That erratic heart rate, that fast heart rate is raising your blood pressure. Okay, so now if we measure and we breathe slow, in your inhale and exhale through your nose. Inhale for 4 to 5 seconds, exhale for 4 to 5 seconds. Your diaphragm, if you move your stomach muscles out, that gives the space in your cavities so your chest can fill up. It brings your diaphragm down. When those muscles push back in, it pushes the diaphragm up, squeezing out the air from the exhale from your lungs, our lungs, right? So let's try it. And as you're monitoring your heart rate, you will feel the effects of it in the heartbeat, and you will feel it respond in the way of slowing down. So let's try a couple breaths with the 4 to 5 second inhale and exhale. Deep, slow, rhythmic, diaphragmic breathing. You ready? Let's go. Now, when the first inhale and exhale, you can feel it kind of like shaky. It might even spike a little bit. But on the second inhale, exhale, on the third inhale, exhale, you can feel it mellow out and boom, 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 boom. And it gets slower and slower and steady and rhythmic. That in turn lowers your blood pressure. See, when you're sitting there at the hospital, anybody that's ever been to the emergency room, their doctor or the hospital, and they've had high blood pressure, right? And they register. So they put the sleeve on, hit the button, boom. Okay, your blood pressure is elevated. If your blood pressure is elevated, what do? They don't give you water. They don't give you no herbs. They don't give you any food. They don't even give you blood pressure medication. They tell you to sit down and wait. And we're going to monitor it again in about 20 to 30 minutes. This is because when you are sitting still, this is supposed to naturally lower your blood pressure because you aren't doing anything. So if you are sitting still and your blood pressure isn't lowering, okay, now we got to check two things: your breathing and your thoughts. Because the thought, that racy, fast thought, will cause your heartbeat. to respond, causing your blood pressure to elevate. If you are in love, let's say you are in love, you touched by love, right? There you are, your heart is racing, your blood pressure is up, right? So you are active and energized. If you're sad, depressed, angry, see, our thoughts have an immediate effect upon our breathing, our heart rate, and our blood pressure. So when we are sitting still, blood pressure is supposed to lower naturally because you aren't doing anything. It's no reason for it to be up. If it is up, now you got to check your breathing and your thoughts. I got to relax my thoughts. I got to think calm, peaceful, relaxing thoughts, which will, because that's electrical. So we have a pacemaker in the heart, right? If you open up your heart, we have a pacemaker, right? And this, because muscles in the body move off of contraction. When the muscles contract and they release, that's the movement. So in order for the heart to beat, it has a natural pacemaker in it that is corresponding to all of our thoughts. If you are in love, that heart is boom, 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 boom. If you are angry, the heart is boom, 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 boom. If you're sitting on a beach, watching the sunrise, listening to the waves, your heart is boom, 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 boom. If you are in prayer and relaxing in meditation, your heartbeat is boom, 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 boom. See, we control it. So we got two actions we can take. You have temporary and you have permanent. You have temporary and you have permanent. The temporary effect is when you take a herb, when you eat something, drink something, and it lowers it. It's temporary because once that effect wears off, your blood pressure goes back up. Why? Because you aren't permanently breathing as properly. We aren't permanently, regularly controlling our thoughts. So now we are stuck with temporary fixes, right? Temporary band-aids. But after the effect wears off, the blood pressure raises back up. I'm now back in trouble because I haven't learned how to control and manage me. I haven't learned my anatomy and my physiology and how to be me. So here at Supreme Health and Wellness, listen, within 3 days, we will teach you how to permanently control your blood pressure, to lock it in and keep it there. This is your vital, absolutely necessary for you to live. The numbers, if you monitor your blood pressure right now, whatever numbers you get, that's the numbers of your life. You don't have to guess. You don't have to pray and worry. If you have high numbers, it will almost be impossible for you to have many, many years in front of you because you will wear out your heart and your cardiovascular system. And that silent, see, it hits you like that. In the midst of you living your regular life. That's why they call it the silent killer. We have a solution, family. We show you how to effectively and efficiently, fun and easy, within 3 days. You aren't eating anything, drinking anything, buying anything, doing anything special except being you. Right? Because being you is what has your blood pressure out of control. So we're going to show you how to adjust your lifestyle according to our anatomy and our physiology. And you will create that blood pressure. You will create that level of efficiency. So when you are resting It will take not just minimal power to keep you alive, but even when you are moving, your blood pressure won't, you will have your cardiovascular system so strong, so efficient and effective. Even when you are moving, it still won't take a lot of pressure to keep you in that motion, to support you in that motion. So you can go and you can move fast, effective, efficiently, right on down to the modern times. Say, be and it is, and all that good stuff, family. Listen, this is exciting, it's fun. So if you or anybody you know needs help with controlling their blood pressure, with overcoming that silent killer, and you don't want to spend a lifetime of eating this herb, that herb, buying this solution, that solution, or just spending your money in general, within 3 days, woo! Within 3 days, we can have you with a lifestyle that allows you to control and manage you, because this is your blood pressure. This is the side effects of your life. It's not nobody else controlling it but you. If you don't know how to control it, maybe that's why it's out of control. Easy formula. So family, thank you all for tuning in. I pray that these words were received in the spirit that I was striving to deliver them in, which is the spirit of your brother, the spirit of love, and of course, and always, in the spirit, in the name of God. Family, it's never too late, man. It's never too late. The only thing is, it doesn't start until we start it. So let us go carpe diem, seize our day. Let us go conquer our day. Let us go create our heaven and set ourselves in it at once, because that is all up to us. So family, thank you. I leave you in the spirit of love, peace, happiness, and God, in some words of peace. I say, Namaste, Hotep. Power to the people. Salam alaikum. Peace.